Blurb Podcast. Here with you today is me, Vlad Vection, David Dunn,
me,
Oleg Brasnik,
woo,
and Dean Gaffney.
Hello.
So
we do have a special guest actually.
we do have a special
very
guest.
Quiet, a homeless lady we found on the streets who's drinking wine.
Interesting fact, she is terrified of us stealing her bread.
Yeah, very much that.
Fun fact. Okay, so how about let's talk about each of us. Like, what are we into? What kind of games are we into?
Well, I'm a tried and true PC gamer. I've been playing PC games since ever I could remember. I remember the first time I played a PC game was Heroes of Might and Magic 3 back in 1999. It was in Russian. And I'm going to pass you on to Dave.
Yay!
Wow. Russian.
I'm Dave, I'm a console peasant. I love my console games. I love anything from Infamous to Metal Gear Solid to everything.
Just those two games.
Well, that's all I play.
That's about
Only
the
two
extent of
games
it.
I've ever played ever. That's
They're
it.
pretty good games, though.
They're pretty good games.
Dean?
Well, I suppose I have my background in the same lowly depths as Dave here, but as in any great society, I was able to work my way up to godliness alongside Vlad and Oleg. So for the past couple of years, I've been a PC gamer, and for the most part, I stay on that platform. I play a lot of Dota 2.
Boo.
Yeah, I think every PC gamer at this point has played a lot of Dota 2.
Yes, it's not so much a PC gaming hobby or a gaming hobby now as it is a Dota 2 hobby, so I won't dwell too much on
It's an
it.
addiction, it is, yes.
So I won't spend too much time on that point.
This is not a Dota podcast,
Although it could be.
Yeah, and I am kind of same as Oleg and Dean. I play a lot of PC games. I play console games as well, but the Dota addiction gets in the way of that. And yeah, I've recently started a gaming blog called Games Blurb. So this podcast is kind of based on that, and it will be uploaded onto the blog as well.
It's the one podcast
Yeah.
to rule them all.
Exactly.
It is.
We hope.
The number one Irish podcast, because there's probably not very many.
Probably not very many.
By the decree of the only podcast that matters.
But anyway, let's get right into it. So,
For all you millions of viewers.
are you millions?
Millions.
By that we mean one. Probably
Yeah,
the
probably
one.
one. That's probably
One
the
million.
It's probably the
1
homeless
million.
girl. Probably the homeless girl drinking wine.
I'm not paying.
I mean, if we're lucky.
Okay, so big news. Last week saw the acquisition of Oculus Rift by Facebook.
Of course.
So they were bought out by $2 billion. $2 billion.
Gosh, it's pocket change, isn't it?
Yeah, something to
It's Max Zuckerberg, of course it is.
So what do you guys think? Big news, I think, yeah.
I think that everybody's overreacting just a little bit. I think it's a good thing because, as they said themselves, they now have enough money to research their own hardware as opposed to using some leftovers from the mobile industry as they were doing before. So a higher quality product, as long as they never make you sign in, which the guy said they're not going to make you sign in using Facebook or anything like that. They're making
Or so they claim.
Or so they claim.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting factor. Marcus Pearson, Notch,
Yeah.
as he was called, developer of Minecraft. He basically, as soon as he heard the news, he cancelled his Oculus Rift project, the Minecraft project he's working on.
Right.
The unannounced project, of course.
Yeah.
So before he even announced the project, he thought, okay, I don't like Facebook, so I'm just not going to make this game.
So his exact quote was, "Facebook creeps me out."
Yeah.
Cliff Blazinski came back with, "Notch is a spoiled child."
Cliff Blazinski's a spoiled brat.
I
Hate
think
Cliff.
he kind of proved it with that comment, really, didn't
Yeah.
The two of them want attention, to be honest.
They do. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, no, of course, but I have a spot in my, I don't know, hatred gland, whatever it is, for Cliff Blazinski. He just annoys me, especially when he posts pictures of his new Ferrari that he bought his girlfriend, and then his girlfriend broke up with him, and then he was the saddest guy in the world, and then he got a new girlfriend and bought her a Ferrari, and
You have glands for things
yes,
that
for
aren't.
hatred, a hatred gland.
I have a dog gland.
me
We
too.
all have dark
But yeah, no,
Different.
Facebook
Except-
Facebook buying Oculus Rift, stupid. I've lost all interest in Oculus Rift, and the only interest I have in VR now is PlayStation's entry into the.
But again, these
Yeah.
things are way into the future. I mean, by
True.
the time they become
That's
a
true.
consumer product, it could be 2-3
Yeah.
years. Who knows?
I mean, if it's a case where Facebook are just going to throw money at them and leave them alone and just that's it, they're just there as a financial backing, that's fine. But they're not. They're going to have their grubby little fingers and everything.
You see, this is where I disagree, actually, and I agree with Oleg on this point. After looking at it a lot, Facebook have this really good history of acquiring products and not interfering with them a lot. They give them a nice injection of cash, but they don't seem to push them in a direction that would be counterintuitive to what was great about that product to begin with.
Yeah.
Now, they
Well, I hope
will.
so.
Now, of course, they will. they're not going to acquire Oculus and do nothing with it. But as far as the Rift is concerned, I think it's going to be, if not the exact same, then very similar to what the backers were promised when they initially put their back into it on Kickstarter.
PC gamers worship Carmack, and he came out and said that he thinks
That's because he
it's not the
works
worst
for
idea.
Oculus Rift. I mean,
Yeah, but
it's his
Yeah, but-
company. I mean,
No, that's not his company. He's
Well,
working
yeah,
as
I
a
know,
sort
but-
of advisor / director, but
of course he's going to come out and say it's a good thing.
no, he's not.
If he's working for
But
somebody
yeah,
as an
yeah, no,
advisor, he has an obligation to come out and say it's a good thing. But no, like, okay,
He doesn't have an obligation to come out and say
maybe it's just my
anything.
hatred towards Facebook. But like even the news of
It
today,
is.
Escapist magazine was bought by Facebook again.
that
They
was
need to
an-
stop-
That's an
that's
April
an April
Fool's.
Fool's.
It wasn't actually.
Yesterday's
Fool's
April
joke.
Fool's, guys.
Okay.
Loads of
good.
news on that front,
Good,
but we'll
good,
talk
good.
about
I'm
that.
We'll
sorry.
talk about that.
I just saw it in my newsfeed and I was like, this can't be right. You know, Facebook, stop buying things I like. I don't know. But yeah.
But yeah, like Dean was saying, when Facebook acquires a company, they don't tend to interfere with them too much. Like with they just bought out WhatsApp, and while they haven't really had that much time with it, a case in point, we have what company did they buy out before WhatsApp? It was
Instagram.
Instagram. Yes. So with Instagram, they literally just left it as is. The companies are completely separate, and they don't. The integration is optional, so you don't have to log into your Facebook through your Facebook account. Again, same thing.
True, but the terms and conditions of signing up to Instagram did change a little bit, so that Facebook have ownership of whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
about it.
And you've read those terms and conditions
No,
before
no,
and
but
after
It's
the purchase.
same reason I'm not on Instagram, just simply because I don't like that kind of thing. But I mean, it's proof that they haven't completely left it by itself. They have implemented their own terms and conditions.
Yeah, they own the company. What do you
Yeah, I know.
expect to happen?
I mean, prior to that, did Instagram save your pictures and
Yes.
Yeah,
did they?
Yes.
that
they kept it.
was their big thing.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't use it, so I don't really care.
So many people are upset over this news because the project itself was a Kickstarter about a year ago. So
Yeah.
people were asking for funding. They were pretty much begging for it because they wouldn't have been taken up by traditional outlets or company, investment agencies. So because these people invested in them, they really thought that this thing is just this kind of small indie PC enthusiast sort of thing. But now it's been bought out by Facebook, this giant company. So they're thinking, okay, what's going to happen to the company now? Like, are they just going to?
I suppose I want to try a little bit of faith in for Oculus.
Yeah.
I mean, if you actually looked at the CEO did a AMA on Reddit and answered all the concerns and questions of the fans. He said there's not going to be any Facebook integration. There's not going to be any changes made to our company by Facebook. Yes, we might see Oculus exploring different directions due to additional funding. For example, virtual rooms or something where you can meet with your friends using Oculus Rift. But that's nothing to do with the original plan of being a PC game centric device, which they have more than enough money to do both now.
Well, I mean, let's
I think-
hoping it goes well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, for me at this point, I resisted the lure of Oculus from the very beginning because it just seemed like it was a phase to me that it just wouldn't pan out the way it would ideally. But over time, I've been kind of won over, and I'm kind of too invested now to just lose all faith again.
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to wait and let this play out. I mean, I'm not going to be an initial investor in this. I'm not going to pick up a Rift the day it becomes available to me. But if the reports coming out are good, then all works out well.
I think
And could see myself buying one. I mean,
At the
I've
beginning,
heard of what people said about Elite Dangerous with it,
Yeah.
and that just got me so stoked.
At the beginning, I thought it might be a bit like the Ouya, which is dead now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You mean the thing that was dead before it came out?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Poor
See,
Ouya.
The only issue with myself,
Really?
I would never find myself buying an Oculus Rift, mainly because that kind of immersive
Console.
No, just
Wait,
that kind of gaming I couldn't see myself doing at a desk. I could understand a Steam box in your living room,
Oh, yeah.
kind of more Kinect type gaming, so to speak. But that's why I think it has a better chance of reaching the public.
You can sit anywhere when you're playing a game. You don't have to sit at a desk.
But at the end of the day,
But at the end of the day, are you going to move your massive rig downstairs to a sitting room or somewhere where you actually have space? Could you play an Oculus Rift in your room at the moment?
Yes.
Yes. 100%.
That's how
It's just
that's how
TVs
they're
in your
set.
eyes. There's no.
You don't actually move
Yeah.
around the thing. You
only
move your head.
You still control what the mouse
Okay,
is.
So
There's
you're saying
no
using
leg
okay,
movement.
Yeah.
Right, so next time we should research the Oculus Rift before we
Possibly.
talk about it
Yeah.
at a video games podcast.
See, I'm thinking of the Sony version where you're using Move to control things.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
That's
They
not
use,
Rift.
they use external peripherals for that.
Basically, Oculus is like putting TVs into your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, you make
Well.
it sound so creepy.
Ja!
I got the Oculus. I don't need these eyes anymore. Where's the ice cream scoop?
So it is a case where you're just sitting static or you're like.
Right now,
You can just turn your head. So
Oh.
as you turn your head, you look around in the game. That's
That's how it works.
you
So
can
if
use
you,
it.
What if you need to look behind yourself?
then you turn your head.
But is it a case that the Oculus Rift you can't turn around fully?
You can't turn around fully. That's
But-
the limitation. Of,
Yeah.
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 That's
So-
why there's lights on the back of the Sony one, so the Move camera or whatever they call it can track the back bit.
Hmm.
Okay, so it is more. So you can sit down in front of your.
That's absolutely it.
your console.
Pretty much every game that's been released for it, sorry, not released for it, that has it implemented so far is in that fashion. Like for
Yeah.
instance, Elite Dangerous, which I spoke about, is among other things, a spaceship simulator.
Yeah.
And what I'm told is at the moment, where in the beta version, they're just doing spaceship battles, and what you do is you just sit in your chair,
Yeah.
and when you look up in this direction, for instance, I'm pointing up above my head, you will see a menu, and the menu is reactive in such a way that when you move up with your head, it will flicker to life, and when you
Yeah.
look away, you'll see it kind of
Oh, okay.
phasing out. And
Cool.
that's how the menus in that game work. But as for actually turning the ship, like you have your head movement, but then for turning the ship around, you have the keyboard controls in front of you.
Well, you should have a joystick if you.
Oh,
if you're
a
going
joystick,
that
of
far
course,
anyway.
is ideal, definitely.
They were saying that some big problems that you have with developing a game for the Oculus Rift is that, for example, that in a video game the height of the characters is always very low down to the ground
Yes.
because it doesn't look that way
Hmm.
to us, but it's actually much lower than it is in real life. So things like the height of doors and height of yourself as you're walking through the world has to be altered before it can be ported to the Oculus Rift.
And that's exactly true. Apparently, one of the issues that a lot of journalists have been having with it, not issues, but one of the strangest things for them, is if they are shorter than the character model is in game, everything looks massive to them.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But anyways, we've talked about future tech. How about we talk about current tech? So the current consoles, we have the PS4, the Xbox One. What do we think? None of us currently own any of these consoles.
Yeah. has an Xbox
One
One.
Xbox One, it's not great.
He has a
I
developer
mean, there's
edition.
nothing. There's nothing.
It's the
on it.
white.
Mm.
Honestly, at the end of the day, both consoles are great pieces of tech, but without games, I mean.
720p.
Both consoles are acceptable pieces of tech.
Okay. Yeah, they no
Both
games.
consoles play games. But
Yeah. No, they both.
Not
they
many
both-
games.
Yeah.
but
In,
So they
in,
play
in theory.
I mean, say Titanfall. I'm not myself into this. I'm not into multiplayer games or online multiplayer games. I love local multiplayer games. That's my thing.
Awesome.
But online multiplayer games, I'm not into. But from what I've heard, Titanfall, a few guys have played it for PC. The beta
Okay.
you're in,
Yeah, it's meant to be
It's
pretty
meant to be
goddamn
brilliant.
awesome.
Oh, am I the only one who plays?
If you're interested
Yeah.
in that kind of thing,
Alright.
I'm not sure whether it's worth buying a console for though. Is it?
Well,
One
Oleg
game
has
like
played
that.
it, so.
It is for some people because
Maybe for
people
some
have
people,
been
yeah.
there has been a surge of sales
But yeah.
after the release of Titanfall. Also, we have Second Son.
Second.
Yeah,
Son.
Son.
Ah,
Also,
I played that
also
so
got a
much.
surge of sales.
Yeah.
See,
See, I think we all want Second Son and a
Oh,
PlayStation 4.
definitely.
That's it. It's safe to say. I mean, there's no one game for Xbox yet that
Yet.
has made everyone go, yes, I need. This is a system seller.
Titanfall.
Aside from Titanfall, for the few COD fans, I would say, because personally, that wouldn't.
appeals
push
to
me.
you, yeah.
If
Yeah,
I was a
Xbox
COD
One.
fan, I would immediately swap to Titanfall.
Yeah.
It is a great game. I played a little bit of COD and I played a little bit of Titanfall,
Yeah.
but there's a different
Yeah.
superior game in my mind anyway.
Well, it is made by the actual.
Yeah,
members.
the brains behind the Call of Duty franchise. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know out there, Respawn Entertainment, who make Titanfall, are formed up of the remnants of Infinity Ward. Now, the Infinity Ward that makes the current Call of Duty Modern Warfare series is not that studio. That studio was almost completely dissolved after Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 came out. And they went on and they formed Respawn. They signed a contract with EA. And now we have Titanfall,
Which is nice.
the true successor.
So do any of us want to get a PS4 or an Xbox One?
I
Yes.
do.
Good question.
I
Yes.
do at some point, but I would never buy any piece of gaming hardware out as soon as it's released, simply because there's never enough
Software.
gaming variety. There's never enough software to support it.
Exactly.
But this is the great thing about consoles. As time goes on, they become cheaper and their game library expands. As time goes on, they become a better purchase, in my opinion. So I leave it for a while.
So it kind of pays to wait.
It
In
does.
my opinion.
It does.
I mean, it's the same with PlayStation 3 when that came out. I mean, I was a day one adopter, but I had no games to play. I had Blazing Angels, I think it was, and the
What
Sonic
is that?
game. It was a war plane game.
Oh, yeah,
it was
that
literally
game.
it was just
Yeah.
that. I didn't play Killzone myself at the time. I think Killzone.
The first one. Oh no, sorry.
Killzone.
Killzone 2 came out in
Was it?
2009 though.
One of
Probably
them was launched with the system though, wasn't it?
No.
Okay, well, the only two games that I had was Sonic, and it was a terrible. It was the rebranded kind of just plain Sonic game. It's a terrible
So
game.
basically what's saying
Oh,
there's a
this
Blu-ray
is-
player.
It was a Blu-ray player, and I didn't even have any Blu-rays to play on it. But I mean, like, I love having a new tech, but when there's no games played, it's a waste of, like, honestly,
I think it's a
not
bit of
much
a
worth.
catch-22 situation
Yeah.
because if people don't buy a lot of PS4s, not a lot of games are going to be made. But if people buy PS4s and there's not a lot of games made, then you can't really play any games.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And it almost looked like it was going to go that way for the PlayStation Vita and for the 3DS to a certain extent. But now,
Yeah.
thankfully, both of those actually have really good
Yeah, I mean,
libraries.
everyone thought the 3DS would be a flop, but it's turned itself around, and it's one of the better selling.
I think the problem with the
Systems.
3DS was that when everybody saw it, everybody thought it was going to be completely propped up by the
Mhm.
gimmicky 3D. And the
Yeah.
fact is, though, there's actually some decent hardware underneath that, and it's a pretty good console.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a lot of games for
It's a
one.
lot of
Yeah,
games. See, that's
a lot
it.
of games.
That's a great
That's
thing about
just it.
Nintendo. I mean, sure, they obviously regurgitate a lot of their own titles, but I mean, there's never a lack of games. On it.
That's
It took some time.
Aside from the Wii U, okay, hands
Yeah.
down, Wii U. It's just
I don't know what's going on with the
yeah,
Wii U,
I don't
to be
think anyone
honest.
does. But in previous Nintendo consoles, never been a lack of games.
The Frostbite people on Twitter have been actually kind of mean today on April Fool's Day.
Is that what?
They're saying, "Oh, Half-Life 3 is running the Frostbite engine. It's coming out on the Wii U, the best hardware of the generation." That just sounds
Yeah.
sarcastically mean.
Well, it's easy. It's
Kind of
easy.
bitter, right?
It's easy to pick on the Wii U and the lack of
Oh,
its
it's
lack
so
of
easy.
success. I mean,
But I mean, I think it's much comes down to a branding issue because it's just the way the console's branded. I mean,
Yeah.
you think the Wii, you think, oh, is that like an addition? Like
It's
an
confusion.
add-on?
I mean,
Is it
they're
really
not
is
like
an
an
add-on
add-on
to the
brand
Wii,
confusion.
or what do I do with it?
Yeah.
yeah, nobody
A lot
understands.
of people in the shop will see it Wii U and like, oh, is that like, do I just
An
buy one
accessory
on
or
top of
something,
my
yeah.
Wii U? Or like,
Yeah, a lot of people might just think it's the controller, and they might get that thinking it
Yeah.
works with their Wii U. But like, it's the same with the new 2DS. I mean, that's what Nintendo kind of are having a horrible time with their naming of consoles.
They really
The DS, right? Fair enough. The DS, it was weird. Joe screaming, fine, that's grand. The 3DS, that's when people were like, is it the third DS? I'm not sure. And on top of that, you've got all the new versions, like the Lite, the XL. I mean, and then they come out with the 2DS, and people are like, okay, so what's the 2DS? What's the 3DS? What's the difference? You know, nobody really knows. Everyone thinks, oh, the 3DS is the newest one. The 2DS is an old one.
It's
That's
an old
not
one,
like
yeah.
the 2DS.
And it doesn't help that the 2DS is gigantic and it looks
Yeah.
like it's older.
It
That
looks
was a
like
problem.
an axe head.
A which now?
A what?
An axe head.
Oh, an
Axe head.
axe head. It does actually. It's
Yeah,
got that
actually, how do you
V.
say it?
It's got that V on the side of it.
Apparently, the 2DS has sold 2.1 million consoles.
Yeah, it's done quite well.
Yeah, apparently actually.
I'd put that down. Probably put that down to Pokemon alone. That is the majority.
Yeah,
sorry,
the new
of
Pokemon
those,
game.
of
Well,
those
the
console sales.
newish Pokemon.
Isn't there like a ridiculously easy to trigger completely save file corrupting bug in that though?
So yeah, from what I heard, actually,
Okay, so moving on.
Yeah, demonstrated that
there's
we know
been-
nothing about Nintendo products.
So you're probably going to have to cut that
That's
part
probably
out as
because we,
well.
that's probably
And
because we
that's
don't
fine.
own any Nintendo products.
new console.
That's
I mean.
fine. But anyway, moving from Nintendo.
There's home consoles to be had.
Save the money. But anyway, PlayStation. There's loads of PlayStation news
Oh,
lately.
we love our PlayStation.
A lot of layoffs. A lot of people leaving.
That is unfortunate.
So we have Amy Hennig, the writer and creative director for Uncharted.
Moment of
She's
silence. Moment of silence,
yeah.
guys. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, anyway, so she was there. She's been in the company for 10 years. She was there since. I think it
Was she there since Jack and Daxter?
Jack and Daxter.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's gone. 3rd of March. She's out.
Yeah.
She's left.
And nobody knows
A
why.
lot of controversy.
Yeah.
We're not sure. Sources say that she's been kicked out. By
And she's not one to really give much of a public,
Speech,
speech or like talk to the press or anything like that. So I don't think we'll ever find out why.
I think what's going to happen to a lot of these layoffs is that they're going to start Kickstarter projects,
Oh yeah.
indie game studios. Which I'm not complaining about.
Oh, no
More
way.
PC games.
I mean, anything Amy Hennig would do, I'd jump on it
I
immediately.
mean, all these people are talented people.
Oh yeah, very.
They
very
definitely
talented
come up
people.
with something. But anyway, yeah. Also, Santa Monica. There's been layoffs. There's been
Yeah.
6 people laid off. There's also been a cancelled project of theirs. So
Of Santa Monica?
yeah, they've been developing some unannounced project for the last X amount of years,
Oh.
and they had to cancel the project.
That is really
I
unfortunate.
don't know if that's money issues or
Yeah,
internal issues.
see, I'm wondering,
issues.
is this a direct result of Sony's kind of downsizing? You know, they sold the Bravia brand, or not the Bravia, sorry, the
But-
Bio brand to a Chinese brand. Is it just, you know,
As far as I know,
cutting all the
keep-
loss? Well,
they-
not all the losses, anything that wasn't.
Well, see, the
Shiny, so to
video
speak.
game portion of their company is kind of isolated.
Yeah, well,
and it is their only profit making.
yeah, that's true. I mean, they're still at the end of the day, they're all under the one umbrella. So I mean, you cut losses here to. I mean, they inject money into each.
6
Each
people
subsidiary.
being laid off in one company. I don't think that's influenced by.
Was it 6 people? I thought
6
so.
people.
It was only 6.
In
It's not
Santa
influenced by
Monica.
Still,
the
yeah, I
Sony
suppose,
corporation.
Mm.
They make enough money in
But-
insurance to cover every other expense that they have.
So what would be the reason for?
Well,
just
their
getting rid of 6
previous
people?
game, the God of War game, God of War Ascension,
Yeah,
that had really bad sales.
yeah.
Yeah.
And look, if a game was cancelled, that's the reason for 6 people being let go.
Possibly.
As,
It could have been Tripe. Whatever they were working on.
See, sometimes games just don't work out,
Yeah.
and then the studios are faced with a situation where they try to completely cut their losses, release a bunch of bullshots, and try to sell the product. See Aliens: Colonial Marines, or they say,
Everything
"Hey
was fine."
guys, we kind of fucked up, but you know what? Let's just take this mess and we'll try and salvage some resources in a future game." And let's move
yeah.
on.
No, I know a lot of people are calling for the games industry to move a lot more towards the movie industry and that. Instead of, right, in the games industry, you have companies who make one game, then they make another game, then make another game. Whereas in the movie industry, you've got studios, but then they hire the talent from outside, and it's kind of it's more a contract thing. And so you have this, let's say you have this writer, Amy Hennig, and you want to make a game, you're like, oh, I need a really good writer, let's get her to pen the script. And it's just like you would in movies, and you know, I know a lot of people are asking for the industry to move that way because it would kind of, it would help with layoff. I mean, there wouldn't be as many layoffs if,
But
because you wouldn't be part of the companies.
Yes,
and then on the other side, it might be much more difficult to get work.
No, on the other hand, I think it might
First of all,
make for worse games. Well, not
You
worse
think?
games, but worse sequels or no sequels at all. Because once a game studio has made a really good game,
Yeah.
it's quite likely that their second game in the installment or their other game that is a new IP will be still a good game because that team works well
True,
together.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
But
we still have sequels in the movie industry. I mean,
Certainly,
those production
yeah.
companies will get back together. There's plenty of cases where that happens.
Yeah, if the money is there, the person will go for it.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, I mean, like lately, there's been a kind of no one will really. There's very few new IPs. It's kind of all companies are jumping on sequels. They want to annualize and sequelize
I don't think
everything.
I don't think that at all. I think there's been loads of new IPs
No,
compared to
That's
Say,
not- not
say The
compared
Last of
to
Us. Say The Last of
the-
Us and Beyond Two Souls. I can't really think of very many
for
new IPs.
the new upcoming consoles. A lot of them are either complete reboots or new IPs.
But a reboot is a sequel.
And,
No, okay, that's fine. Reboot is
Yeah,
a sequel,
yeah.
but there's been quite
it's not a new
there
IP,
is
so-
quite a few new IPs.
Yeah,
for
quite
the
a few. But when you say quite a
next-gen
few,
consoles.
it's about 3 or 4.
Yeah. You see, this is
which is more than last year.
But that's what I'm saying. There's still so few compared to when you look at PS2 times, or even beginning of PS3 times, when all these new IPs and new franchises. Well, you know, they became franchises later, but all started like Uncharted. I mean, I know Haze. I love that game, but everyone else hated it and it bombed.
That was a bad game.
I loved Haze. I'm sorry, I loved it.
See, this is
Guys, honestly, I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel like I'm drowning in sequels apart from Nintendo.
Well,
Quotation
is that because you play a lot of indie games
I believe it might be.
and you buy all these
Could
little
be.
indie bundles
Yeah.
and these
Goat
games on
Simulator.
Steam?
Yes.
Goat Simulator, yeah.
We'll get to that
Yeah.
later. But you see, this is the thing. What we're talking about here is very much a symptom of the current state of the AAA gaming industry. And the AAA gaming industry is very different to the rest of the gaming industry, so to speak.
That's right.
As in the indie gaming scene, very different. And I think in the AAA industry there is this massive push towards as you said, as was it
Annualization.
Annualization.
So it's
Yeah.
games
Thank
like
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Watch Dogs.
COD
They want to
Zero,
make
They want
analyze Watch Dogs as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
I
it isn't even
yeah.
out yet. You know, we have no idea what it will be
I
like.
mean, a lot of companies won't touch a franchise unless they can.
Unless they can
annualize it.
annualize it, that is the problem.
Yeah.
This is actually the problem at large with the gaming industry. What you're saying, how people want the gaming industry to move more towards a certain way of being.
Yeah.
In the AAA gaming industry, just everything is so against what the consumer wants at the moment. It is just actively moving in the opposite direction of what the consumer wants.
Yeah.
And it's become, in many ways, it's become kind of a toxic industry, not only to its customers, but to itself.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are predicting that it's a bubble that's going to burst very soon. But I suppose time will tell on
I
that.
suppose you look at the likes of Activision. I know I hate Activision. Everyone here can, in most cases, say they despise Activision. Maybe despise is a strong word, but I mean they're investing a lot of money. They're investing 100 million into a game. They'll want to get something in
I mean, they have to please
A
their
longer,
investors. At the end
yeah.
of the day, they have to please their investors.
Exactly,
That's
Of course they do, yes.
And they have to please the gamer so that he actually buys the game.
Exactly.
And again, this is
Which
another
is exactly what
problem
people
with
want.
with the current AAA
Yeah.
industry. This is part of the symptom. This is one of the symptoms, I should say. It's that budgets and the need for investment or for investment and return have become so bloated and ridiculously runaway and huge that a game that grosses a certain amount of money, huge amount of money, just isn't successful. Like logistically, it isn't successful, and even if it does make a profit, it's not considered successful because, well, it wasn't Call of Duty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember a good example of that is Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Yes.
It sold like 3.5 million
And it was quite profitable.
first
It was quite profitable,
couple
but it
of
wasn't
weeks.
good enough.
And
But
it
yes,
had great reviews.
and it had great reviews.
Yeah.
And by all
People
accounts,
bought
it's a very
it,
fun
but
game.
Square Enix said it was a failure. I mean, in their eyes, they just didn't make enough money out of it, so they
And that is it.
Yeah.
That is the end result. That's what I mean by how toxic the industry has become to itself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we made loads of money. That's not good enough.
On the other hand, we are not the target market of Activision.
No,
That's true.
No,
the,
we
per-
aren't.
the person who owns a console and would just have no problem with going out and buying one game every couple of months because that's what they do. That's the target market, and that's them. That's the vast majority of gamers, sadly,
That's
and
true.
that's the sort of people that you have to please. Like if you think back to Bioshock Infinite, cover for their box art.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
That was the
story.
most generic cover ever. It was a guy with a gun and a girl.
This
Yeah,
reverse
it's funny
one,
because later on they released like 3 or 4 different covers that people
You could
could
print,
actually
yeah.
print off and put.
That's just
Put on
good
the
PR.
side.
That's-
I
that's
just remember
good
the
PR.
reverse side. I mean, I reversed mine around to the red. You know,
Yeah,
the red.
but
kind
the reason that
cool
was there
thing, yeah.
is because everyone kicked up
Yeah.
saying this is the most generic cover ever. They were saying, well, we went to frat houses, and your frat bro is not going to
That's
care
right.
about
Yeah.
a game that looks very nerdy or something. He needs a game that looks cool, and that's the person that we make a profit out of. And if you can sell to those people, then we can keep making great games for you guys.
To be fair, at the end of the day, though, the ending to Bioshock was, I think, just so complex. I don't think your frat bro will be.
But he
too,
gets to
I mean,
too
he
interested.
gets to shoot
get
people
the
in the face.
shotguns, yeah, with
Yeah.
shotguns.
At
and
the end of the day,
faces explode.
Bioshock Infinite, amazing game.
Actually, a great game.
Yeah, we can all agree.
I
with that.
think
Great game.
I think I actually have to say I really enjoyed it.
We
Yeah.
should all
Yeah.
play the DLC.
We should actually.
Yeah, we'll come back.
We should come back
I'm
here
interested
in
to
a
see
week
it.
or two after playing the DLC and
Talk about it. Have a spoiler
Impressions,
cast.
yeah, spoiler
Have a
cast.
Spoiler cast. Also, we'll have a spoiler cast about Goat Simulator.
I mean,
I am buying
like,
It's out in about an hour or
are
so.
you guys going to buy these games for me because, like, you know, money?
I'll enable family sharing feature with you.
You think of me like family.
So,
thank you.
Yes.
Your
Yeah,
king
like-
thanks you.
Sorry, guys. So, what games are you looking forward to this year? There has to be something. There has to be something big.
Oh,
This year. See, that's it.
Well, there's always one comes to mind, and it'll probably make me upgrade my computer. The Witcher 3.
Oh, but
yeah.
see,
yes.
that game isn't coming till next year. That late.
Ah.
that's
man.
The Order.
It's
Not
coming
looking
this
forward-
year.
Safely say, if it actually makes it this year,
Which
well,
it might.
it might not.
But I mean, if that game doesn't make it this year, there are no Sony AAA titles coming out this year.
Yeah, no Sony specific, but
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid, the latest one. What's it called?
Ground Zeroes.
Phantom Pain. Is that coming this year or is that coming next year?
It's coming late 2015.
Late
as far as I know,
2015. Okay, so that's a while away. I can't think of any.
I was gonna say Infamous Pass already.
Infamous is already
Infamous
out.
already out.
Yeah.
Transistor is an indie game that I might be looking forward
See,
to.
we're talking.
No,
Yeah, okay.
Any game.
Wait,
any game
are you
is coming.
complaining about indie
No,
games?
no, I
It's
like
coming to the Vita
I like
and
indie games.
PS4.
But as far as we know, I think the Order 1886, which was announced late last year, is the only AAA Sony title coming out. I'm not sure about what about Microsoft. What does Microsoft have?
I'm trying to Halo. I think was Halo set for
It's
end of
slated for
2014.
the end of 2014.
2014, I think it was. Yeah, holiday season.
I can actually say this because it hasn't come out for PC yet, quite yet. So I have a little tiny window of opportunity that this happens to fall upon. Dark Souls 2. It's not out for PC yet.
This man has a point.
I
Yes.
am going to buy that.
I get raped in game.
Moneyless was damned. And I'm going to enjoy every minute of being told that I died in the most obnoxious fashion, written in my own blood on the transparent screen as it slowly goes dark. I love Dark Souls. I love it. And the funny thing is, I hated it at first. I think most people will hate Dark Souls at first, because there is a hook.
Me.
I tried it for like 2 minutes. I didn't really give it as much time as deserved, but I died like 6 times in the 2 minutes I played it.
Games like that, like Super Hexagon, Dark Souls, and maybe Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
I've never quite seen into them. You know those masochistic games
Yeah.
people played to suffer.
Miami
Hotline
Miami.
Miami.
That wasn't that hard. It was just.
It wasn't that hard. It was just
Repetitive.
particular.
Yeah, repetitive.
Yeah.
I suppose you have to
It's
try.
like-
Keep going at it.
It's like banging your head against the wall until you finally break through.
Yeah.
But the thing about that game
That
was
sums it up perfectly.
the thing about that game was the clever thing about it was the really rich artistic style. I would say not the really rich artistic style and really rich music
Yeah.
made it an experience where you somehow enjoy banging your head.
It felt like I was on acid while I was.
Oh, that's
playing.
all.
That is the point.
They're
Like,
trying to go for it.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I've never done acid.
The thing about the game was you're running around and the games can actually sway side to side
Yeah.
as you're running. Yeah.
I also got the impression that you're kind of supposed to be on cocaine during that, which is kind of not you the player, the character.
Okay, well, that makes more sense.
So the game box comes with a free line.
I mean, when you think about it,
Gets you
it
started.
does explain why he's able to kick people's heads in with one kick.
Yeah.
Unless he's obscenely strong.
Um,
But hey, video games.
So, of the year, guys, what would be the one game you would give a shout out to? What would be the game you would?
Well, I was going to give a shout out
yeah.
to The Witcher 3, but that's not coming out next year.
Yeah.
Well, no, games that you've played though.
Oh, this year.
Yeah, this
Okay,
year.
this
So
year,
your
okay.
game of this year. What's your game of the year?
Well, I haven't really-
2014, isn't it?
I haven't really played that
Well,
many
2013,
games
2014. I mean, I suppose.
So, what are you trying to say? Game of the year 2013?
2013.
Game of the year so
Because-
far of 2014?
Okay, no. Game of the year 2013, because that way we have a bigger selection. I mean,
Okay.
very not a huge amount of games coming out at the beginning of 2014. So
True.
2013 we'll go with.
Okay. Well, for
I'm
me,
going to say Dota has been released from beta in 2013.
It's a pretty
Real
And it's become
games,
a quickly
guys,
flying
real
game.
games.
okay, for a single player game, I would have to go with The Last of Us, but a close Bioshock Infinite second. Just because Bioshock Infinite had the story, but the gameplay was somewhat.
The
I
best
found-
gameplay
I
ever!
found it quite repetitive. I mean,
Yeah.
it was fun, but it was repetitive. Well, Last of Us.
Repetitive's not. It's not always a bad thing though. Repetitive isn't. Some people like repetitive. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're the kind of person who you play 2 hours, put it down, come back 2 days later, play another 2 hours, you won't notice the repetitiveness. But if you're the kind of person like us who likes to sit down and play the game in one go until your eyes bleed,
Sadly,
then
it's your
you notice
responsibility in that game to make it not repetitive. You have a wide selection of guns. You tend to stick to the one gun because you find one favorite, and one power because you find your combo.
Pardon me. What I must actually say at this point is that no, it's not just that. It's that you find the one gun that you like, and then you upgrade it, and then all the other guns are crap by comparison.
that was me pretty much. It's one gun throughout the entire
Yeah.
game, pretty much.
I spend a lot of time looking for all the extra cash and all the extra
In
bits, so
fairness, yeah.
I do upgrade a couple of the
So
guns.
you played it on
I
PC, didn't you?
enjoyed a lot of the powers. I completed that part for you that you
Oh,
can
you did,
complete
yeah,
on
yeah.
console,
Oh,
as
yeah.
well as playing on a PC.
Actually, I do
That
feel
was my
compelled
favourite
to
part.
give a
I
shout out
actually
to the
hated that
end.
part.
The final battle of that was pretty goddamn good. I
I
have to admit.
did not like.
I
Well, that's the
enjoyed
one
that
part.
one.
No, there's one part of the game that I did not like was the silly tower defense ending on the ship.
Okay, the tower defense part was a little bit dodged, definitely.
I did
That
not
was
like
amazing. That was
But
the
I
best
liked
part.
the way they
But
turned the
yes,
boss.
yes,
The
exactly.
boss section of the game on its head. So You're actually controlling the boss. You're the one directing what the boss did. So in a normal game, you end up fighting this big massive bird that was your enemy for the whole game. But in this game,
spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. But the game has been out for.
Yeah, it's your own fault if you haven't played it.
So is Dark Souls. Regardless.
No, would you
slight
like?
spoilers, not major spoilers, slight spoilers.
In an Infinite Universe, we've all played it.
Yeah,
That's right. I can.
Good.
I like that they did something different.
Yeah.
I personally just didn't enjoy it. I played about
Thoroughly enjoyed
40 or 50. No. I enjoyed the game overall, but just that last. What is it? A boss battle? Isn't it an ending? What is it? It's a
the final battle.
final battle.
It's a confrontation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't say. I'm not good at battle tower defense games.
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I'd say I'm actually on the opposite of Dave in that I didn't really enjoy the moment-to-moment gameplay and gunplay and powers all that much.
Oh, okay.
But that final boss battle, or non-boss battle as it kind of happens, was really, really, really good. And I think it gave you a great opportunity to use everything that you had learned. All your powers, all your guns, up to that point.
All the zip lining, you had to
Yes.
jump between
zip lining
airships.
in that game.
You were
So
shooting
good.
things, you were beating people, it was great.
The only thing that I think was very counterintuitive about it, which I actually didn't like, was that there was a health bar at that point in the end. The health of the platform that you're on. And if that goes, you have to restart,
That's
which
what
is
kept happening with me.
completely different to the way the entire game's respawn system worked up to that point.
Yeah.
Which I think was...
But it wasn't you, Dan, you were protecting something.
Yes,
so
it's slightly different.
Point.
But at every other point in the game, if any kind of failure that you experience, you immediately get just dropped right back in where you were with a little bit of a penalty. Like if you jump off the edge of Columbia, you just poof right back where you were.
Yeah.
If you die, Elizabeth magically drags you away and injects you with green liquid. You just, poof, you're back. You lose some money because the guys check your pockets first.
Ah, Elizabeth.
Great character.
So yours, what's your game of the year, Dean?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say.
When did Metro come out?
This year came out January.
Not Torchlight, what's it called? Metroid Last Light.
Last night, yeah.
That was
I had to
great,
stop
yeah.
halfway through because for some reason I came to a level where my graphics couldn't handle it or something. No, like the game was running on high settings for the entire thing, so it came to this point where everything just started to lag, and even if I turned down the game to its low settings, it kept lagging. But from what I played it, Metro had the most atmospheric gameplay that I have.
You know what? You know what's great about being a console gamer? I never had that issue ever. I can play a game from start to finish. I never have graphical issues.
So
the game never stops.
So you can play every game on medium settings, or you can play most games on high settings, and once or twice this will happen.
The games look beautiful, but there are sometimes technical issues involved.
Don't even care.
PC gaming.
If anything, I enjoy that. I enjoy solving.
Okay, so
technical
yours
issues.
is your Metro is your game of the year, is it?
No, it's done. I came on and said it was
Doesn't
done.
count. Doesn't
It
count.
does count. You're the only one
I
here.
actually have to pick your brain on something, guys.
Okay, go on.
Remind me, was Hotline Miami at the very fringe of 2012?
It depends on what you played on. PC, it was.
I played it on PC pretty much on launch. So
But it was 2012. At the end of 2012, it came out, and then on consoles, it came out in 2013.
I thought it was great that it came out for Vita. I love
think
these
so
little
too.
indie games coming out.
Oh, I have it on the Vita. That's awesome.
So yours is Dota. Yours is.
I think I'm actually going to have to.
Hotline?
Well, Hotline Miami
You can use
definitely.
that.
If you guys say so, I can use. Yeah, I mean, Hotline Miami was just such a mind-blowing, excellent game to me. But I did play first on PC, which is 2012 technically.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
If you want a more technical, if you want a technically correct answer, I actually want to be implied to say the non-beta version of Dota 2 as well. It was.
You could say.
It's nice. Like it's nice to see that at least, excluding Dota because it's not a real game.
Yeah,
it's nice to see.
Typical
It's nice to
console
see
peasant,
that.
guys.
It's nice to see them Hotline Miami, like a small indie game,
Really get up there.
did actually get up there into your game. At the end of the day,
Absolutely. I mean,
mine
it
is
was
Last of
just
Us as well as
it just shocked me how good it was. It was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Dishonored, did that come out in 2013?
2013, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
good.
yeah, actually,
It was
I
good.
could definitely put Dishonored
I
down.
haven't finished it, but.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I did not finish that game, but it
I
was.
think it's
very
one of the
fun,
few games I finished in 2013.
it is such an
Yeah.
amazing game.
You know the whole thing that people have now where they don't finish games anymore?
Yeah.
No, I like to finish games that I start. I mean, it's,
I-
Last of Us was
Very
definitely, like,
Yeah.
it almost goes without saying.
It's one of those games that you literally can't not finish.
Yeah, you can't put it
You just
down.
want to keep
Yeah, yeah.
playing. You just want to keep
But just
moving on to the next objective.
as mentions of 2013 is like Last of Us just goes without saying.
Yeah.
We all agree
Yeah.
on that once we were
Like,
trying to think of something else.
Last of Us is going to be it's one of those games that we'll look back in 10 years and be like, wow, it did shape the way, that type of game, like, I mean, of course you've got your Dota games which aren't so much based around story, or it's based about the experience of you're having with your friends when you're playing this battle or whatever it is.
That's all about gameplay.
But yeah, I'd like to, like, and the gameplay, but in 10, 20 years time we'll look back and maybe, like, I think The Last of Us would have shaped story driven games.
Oh yeah, I think that game was probably my favourite PS3 game of the
Yeah.
generation.
Oh, yeah,
of the
definitely.
whole-
Oh, probably.
I agree.
Yeah, actually. I mean,
I honestly, it's my favourite game of the last, probably the last 15 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is a long
so it's
time.
basically a favourite game.
Before that, it would have
Sorry.
literally just been Pokemon.
What's your
Uh,
favourite game of the last 15 years?
That was 15 years. Jesus.
Okay, maybe that was a bit.
Well,
that might have been a big.
Quite a range.
Big sentence
hard.
to put it on.
But
Um,
off the top of my head, I have a couple, I suppose. I've been playing Final Fantasy 10 HD on the Vita,
Woo!
which is the original, which came out on PS2
Woo!
about 10, 11 years
Shout
ago.
out to PS2.
Back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, best home console ever.
But I really enjoyed that game, and I
Mm.
played it. The first time I played it through, I didn't actually finish it. I think I got about
Yeah.
halfway into the game in 20, 30 hours. And then a couple of years later, I came back to it, and I ended up liking it so much. Because I think, you grow up, when I started out, I might have been like 10.
Yeah.
As you grow up, you kind of get, the experience of the game actually changes and your viewpoint changes. You start kind of to see things you mightn't have seen before. That's what
Yeah.
I found personally.
Oh, okay.
And, you play through the game, and then I ended up clearing it in maybe like a week session. Just playing the game over and over and over until I actually finished it.
Yeah.
That game sticks in mind because it was, it is one of those games that I just played so much
That's
of
good.
it. Maybe I have 100 hours saved in the game.
And so, and Oleg, do you have a game in the last 15 years?
Morrowind.
Morrowind.
Ah.
That's a great one. Yeah, because you
It
got a
is.
lot. There's a lot that happens in that.
I've played it for literally hundreds of hours,
Yeah.
and I haven't completed it.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Because I mean, I
Well,
could
you
go back and finish the story.
technically no completed. Oh, you've never completed the main
I've never
quest?
completed the main quest.
Wow.
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure why. Maybe I'm saving it so I can do it in the future.
I mean, it can be done in like 7 minutes or something
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah, it's not the same. Like, it's the whole build-up of the story.
Of course,
Like, I mean,
of course,
there's
yeah.
so much lore and so many items and everything in Morrowind that is just brilliant. Like the new Elder Scrolls game did not much out of it because it did not have the same sense of discovery. If you just went to a random point on the map in Skyrim, you might get a new quest, but there would never be any random loot. You would still find your level loot, which I think breaks the sense of discovery that Morrowind had, which really bothered me. But and the mod support, you can make an entirely new game and enjoy it so much, and it's just
That's very cool. Yeah, no, I like Morrowind. You made me play Morrowind when I was.
actually. And one last thing, it hasn't aged.
No, it actually hasn't.
No.
Yeah.
The graphics on it are at that point at like Half-Life 2 graphics
Yeah.
ish. At that point where it's like the game will always look okay.
Yeah.
Except the character
Playable.
models.
Except for the character.
They look terrible. But that,
Character animations.
yes, definitely. But in
Oh
fairness,
my god.
that is symptomatic of Bethesda, not necessarily of the Elder Scrolls.
I'm waving my
Or
arms
even
like kind
Morrowind.
of like a really stiff person in the
Like,
employment.
it's actually worth mentioning that when I first played Skyrim,
Yeah.
at that point myself and Oleg were living in the same house, and we played it
I was
pretty
there
much
too,
side by
guys.
side. Yeah,
Jesus.
Sure, playing it. Go on.
No,
relevant to this story.
Well,
And at
was,
the time, I
it was
completely
not.
disagreed with Oleg, but
Yeah.
over time, as I played Skyrim, I came to realize just how right he was. And I always remember a quote of yours, Oleg. He pretty much epitomized it in a single phrase. If I go into a lord's house in Morrowind, I'll find jewels, gold. If I go into a lord's house in Skyrim, I'll find cabbage and cheese. And it is so true. It is so true.
That's brilliant. And yourself, Dean, what would be the game of the last 15 years?
And this is funny actually because again, it's counter to Oleg's point of this massive game where there's so much possibility.
Yeah.
It's Portal.
It was the original Portal, yeah?
The original Portal.
The original, yeah.
Portal 2 was a bit rambly and a little bit aimless.
Yeah.
Portal 1 was concise
To the point.
and perfect.
Yeah.
It wasn't too short. It wasn't,
Wasn't
too
too
long.
long,
It was
exactly, yeah.
the right line.
Yeah.
It was the right
And the
length.
thing about Portal was it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was.
Like, I'm gonna actually have to
Amazing.
say I haven't played Portal 2, but I played Portal 1 like 4 or 5 times. It was
Yeah.
just unbelievable. It's kind of one of those games you can always go, if you were bored, you can just, because I mean there's no story. Okay, there is kind of half a story, But it was just the mechanics were just great. It was really fun to play. I
Exactly,
loved the puzzles.
yes. And that
it
was
had great
great
replay
about it.
value, which is not something like I never normally go back and replay games.
Yeah.
I'm not like that, but Portal was one of the ones that I did a few times. Like of the last 15 years myself, actually, it wouldn't be The Last of Us as much as I love The Last of Us. It would actually have to be Metal Gear Solid. Because I reached a point in my life where when I was young, where it's like all I played was Crash Bandicoot, Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Games were just a fun, like a silly side thing. And I reached a point where it's like, are games for me? Am I going to stop playing games and start doing like sports? Kind of understand.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether games were for me, and then I played Metal Gear Solid, and I was like, oh my god, this is me. This is what I want all games. But that's why I love. Like I don't love too linear stories, but I love story-driven games. That's my area of love. That's my favorite type of game. So Metal Gear Solid, I mean, with all its craziness, it pulled me in, and I couldn't look back.
I'd like to just point out quickly that the last 15 years is a really odd measurement of time, considering we've been alive for about 20 to 25.
Basically means since we've started gaming.
Since we started,
you could actually say, what's your favourite game?
Yeah,
of all time.
And you know what? If I were to, I would not change my answer. Portal 2.
I'd probably say
Portal 1. Excuse me. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, and what you're saying about Metal Gear Solid about the story is, even though like it's crazy.
Yeah,
completely. Some of it is so batshit insane. Pure. Sometimes it just descends into pure gibberish.
Yeah.
It really does descend into gibberish, but it is so invested in its own gibberish.
Yeah.
It is so committed to it that you just have to say hats off.
Yeah.
And in fairness, it does make it work. I mean, something that sounds like complete gibberish in the first game, if you look at the clues in the second game and the third game, suddenly pans out into this bizarre conspiracy. Mm-hmm. And it actually all ties together. Yeah, in a really satisfying fashion.
Kojima is a crazy man.
He really is.
I would love to have just to be able to pick his brain and see what's going on inside there, because the man is crazy.
David, you're really in the wrong business. You're really playing with the wrong consoles if you're looking for story-based games.
Consoles are where the story-based games are. See,
really is not true whatsoever. I mean, the best story-based games, such as Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale.
See, okay, you have to understand. They're your kind of RPG. I'm not mad at these top-down dungeon crawling. So
specifically non-RPG story-based games that you enjoy.
Well, no, I enjoy the.
So you enjoy movies.
Yeah, I love movies. No, but I do enjoy RPGs. And to be fair, RPGs are more like movies than an actual like a.
JRPGs are.
JRPGs are. Well, yeah, they're probably a bit more like a movie than the likes of. Okay, I hate to say it. Well, Uncharted is pretty much a movie on.
Sure, they're making an Uncharted movie.
Yeah. No, but I like.
Control.
It'll just be a let's play.
I do like RPGs though. I mean, like I've played Final Fantasy 10 and 10 Part 2, and I have to say I loved 10 Part 2. Everyone's going to hate me for saying that. I love dressing the girls up. I thought it was great.
I'm actually going to play it.
With the orbs.
I want to play that game again.
It was good.
That battle system was arguably the best thing about that.
Yeah, I thought it was great. The orb, the throw into the new orb, they get different toes, all of it. It's brilliant.
And
it's
they did that insane Sailor Moon-esque transformation every single time.
Oh, man.
The spin, the hands up in the air, the click, Anyway.
But you kind of had to admire the sass. But you see, the problem that everyone has with that game, of course, it isn't even. I don't really care about the story after that point, because anything could happen after the end of Final Fantasy X, and it doesn't matter. Like to
be fair, though, the story was great. I thought the story was great. She goes searching for
it's complicated executed, certainly.
She goes searching for him afterwards, thinking he's still alive. It's just brilliant. She goes to the fire plane again, and so it was a very good story. But in terms of RPGs, like I do like an RPG. I just don't like an RPG that's too kind of, what's the word? It's too difficult to get into. Do you know what I mean? Like I loved South Park. I played South Park Stick of Truth recently. One of the best RPGs I've played. And it wasn't a proper RPG. Like it was kind of really stripped down and too basic, but it was just so funny, so good, and I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed it.
You see, this is the thing. Most like massive RPG fans would hate that. Like they don't like stripped down RPGs. For them, the fun is in these
the stats, the hard numbers.
Yeah, but like there's
it's all about figuring out how the system works.
I kind of get this like every couple of years. I might get this weird kind of urge to want to play an RPG game, and Stick of Truth was just perfectly there for me. I was like, yay, and it wasn't too.
I'm just gonna say here that this podcast should be called Three Lords, One Peasant, because I mean, in fairness, for the entire thing you've just been saying it's like All PC games suck. I like movies and stories. I hate game mechanics.
No, I haven't. I must point out, I played the Stick of Truth on PC. I'm currently playing Darksiders on PC.
I would just like to point out that Stick of Truth is a South Park game, which is good in
everyone
itself
knows it.
for a South Park fan, but and it's a good stripped down RPG. But
Also-
it's a stripped down RPG.
No, it is a strip. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I do play some PC games, not a huge amount. I mean,
You're getting we're converting. We're slowly.
The Walking, okay,
Yeah,
I suppose
yeah.
The Walking Dead. It's no different to on PC
Yeah.
than it is on
No,
it's
Xbox.
different.
But I played it on PC and I thought it was great. I played Half-Life. I played Portal on PC. Played
No. So
good for you. Like,
I'm
not a
not criticizing
huge
the
amount,
amount of big PC games that you've played.
but I'm just not into this.
Game mechanics.
No.
Controls. Mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. Well, no, actually,
Numbers.
I've gotten used to the mouse and keyboard
Text.
control.
There is actually there is that distinct divide, isn't there? There's the brand of gamer who will see a wall of text and he'll say, I don't want to read that, and the brand of gamer
Yeah,
who will
it's
see
like,
a wall
oh
of
my God,
text.
wall
Every
text.
single
Ooh,
thing.
text.
No, but it's like
Flavor
Diablo,
text.
the likes of Diablo, StarCraft, all these kind of super like PC master race games. They never interested me. I looked at them like
You have but you have no idea. Like those two games
I
are
tried
not
Diablo.
connected.
I'm just saying.
In terms of-
giving examples. Dota. I tried Dota. I just can't understand it.
Oh wow,
Can't get my head around it.
that's not really your fault. I mean, in fairness,
Yeah.
unless you're.
But I want to understand it.
No,
I
you
want
don't.
to be able to play
But
it.
the
I
problem
just
with that game
can't.
is you can't. It takes hours and hours and
It's-
hundreds upon hundreds of hours to actually understand that game. It's
Yeah.
so
Somebody was
complex.
telling me at the point Dota is a terribly designed game. For example, just quick.
Take your pitchforks, everybody. Doesn't matter how he explains this away.
Bloodseeker is a character in the game, right? And his ultimate skill puts the burden of knowledge onto the victim. And if the victim is a newer player, he will get absolutely destroyed by this hero, and he will have no idea why. And that will push people away from the game. It's a badly designed game. It makes no sense. You combine two swords and a piece of paper to make a crossbow, and you have lanes, and you don't know why. There's absolutely no sense to it. You just have to learn it, and that's it. So it will not work for a lot of people.
But you see, this is the thing. I actually don't think that that's a fair criticism. And I'm going to bring up an argument that gets brought up far too much and is inaccurate. But a lot of people say that Dota is like chess. It kind of isn't. But think of chess for a moment. Chess doesn't really make sense either.
No,
I mean,
it doesn't.
why the hell can't a
Yeah.
rook kill a king? That doesn't make any sense. Why can't a bishop?
Why can't you only
Yeah,
move
exactly.
in a very specified way?
Exactly, and what is the sport supposed to be? Is this supposed to be a battlefield? Is it supposed to be a political metaphor? Is that why there's bishops on it? Oh wait, bishops used to be archers. It doesn't make sense. And the burden of knowledge, yes, is on your opponent. If you beat your opponent because you know more, that's because you have put the time and effort into learning the game of chess.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to, that's also fine. Don't learn the game of chess. It's the same with Dota.
Yes.
If
But
the
Dota's
burden of
a
knowledge
huge
is
barrier
here.
to entry for Dota. Like someone,
Yeah,
someone like
exactly.
me trying to pick it up.
Absolutely
I've
massive.
tried, and even with you guys kind of chaperoning me and bringing me through, I sucked.
You've played 2 games. I mean,
Yeah.
You will. I mean,
the best guide I've read for Dota is titled "Welcome to Dota."
You suck. And the thing is as well, and this goes out to anybody who wants to play Dota, you are going to be terrible first thing to play, and we are still terrible.
First 50 games
Oh man.
is just a very basic movement tutorial.
See,
What
look-
we did recently was we looked back at our old statistics, and we saw ourselves buying items that made no sense for the characters we had. We had like no money or experience or anything. We were terrible. That's just part of the game. It's part of the fun. In the long run.
It's like, for example, in Dark Souls, you have a learning cliff. Well, in Dota, it's like a learning gulf. Like it literally, it's insurmountable. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's a learning gulf that is the distance between the Earth and the Moon
yeah,
or
massive.
Saturn.
Yeah. Okay, well, like,
But that's why people play professionally.
yeah, it's just it's not something I don't feel a game. I don't feel you should have to play a game 100 times to get good at it and to enjoy it. I mean, if you don't enjoy it from the get go, what's the point of
Why are
playing?
you playing? Yeah, I understand.
That's
fair enough.
that's my view, and that's why
That's why so many people leave.
Yeah.
I gave it
And
as much time as I could. It didn't interest me too much, so I gave up.
And they should leave. And sorry, that sounds terrible. If you don't enjoy something, then you shouldn't put yourself through it. It's as simple as that. Like, the reason that I kept playing Dota was because I was enjoying myself. But if you're not enjoying the learning process, then you're going to be constantly, like, even at our level, and our level is quite low, despite the amount of hours we put in, so there's still lots to learn. You're always going to be learning in the game. There's always going to be someone on your team who's angry with you and wants you to kill yourself because you bought the wrong thing. And at the end of the day, if that's not the kind of game for you, then yeah, don't play Dota.
Yeah.
It's you shouldn't do that to yourself just because other people say it's a good game. That's silly.
So guys, I think
moving on.
From talking about all these games, Dota specifically, like, I think we all should be trying new things. We should try to play new games, because like we'll come back every week. We'll see, like, we'll discuss.
We've got a good mix.
Games.
I think we've got a good mix of gamers. We've got a lot of different types. I'm the console peasant. I can say that I'm the console peasant who loves
So you're gonna play other
story-driven games. We have
but it's okay. We
our
love
hard. Yeah, he's hard at the moment. We have our veteran RPG player who loves his sophisticated, difficult games with lots of
players.
lots of lore. I don't know, elves with
we
armors.
We're going to be playing Dungeons
and
Dragons right after this, so,
Probably.
We did actually buy Pathfinder, so we'll be trying that. I might be talking about
Absolutely.
one of the future podcasts.
I'll be forcing the PC console or PC master race, I suppose. I'm going to be bringing them down to my level. Make them play in the sludge and the mud, and eat their own feces and that kind of thing. And then they're going to bring me up to the godlike. I suppose throne, that is.
And hopefully we'll all end up around the
middle
the workman level.
Half covered in shit, half slightly shiny because we're kind of gods.
Okay.
On that note, we're wrapping up. So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed that.
Bye bye.
Thanks for listening, everybody.